We turn our attention now to Media Watch, which means, of course, we're joined by the one and only James Creedon here in the studio. Good to see you, sir. How are you getting on?
Good, very well, thank you.
Good to see you. Now then, we're starting with a French politician, Patrick Balkany, who's got in a spot of bother with a rolling news channel in these parts. He confiscated their camera.
That's exactly what he did, Mark. This was a couple of days ago. BFM Television, a rolling news channel here in France, went to get these pictures with Patrick Balkany. Two months ahead of local elections, he's running for mayor of Levallois. He got very annoyed with some questions about corruption and grabbed the camera off them. He then tried to rip out the tape from the camera with little success, seeing as I don't think there's any tape in it. Let's take a look.
Ça tourne, je vais lui enlever.
Non, mais quel gâchis, Patrick, arrête.
So what you can see here, Mark, is that was his wife trying to calm him down. You saw a file with Sarkozy written on it. That's his wife there talking to the film crew afterwards, who got the footage that Patrick Balkany was filming while he was trying to get rid of the tape. It's all very embarrassing. It's not really the result he was hoping for. And for a man who's already had trouble with the authorities, for example, in, I think it was the mid-90s, 1996, he got a €524,000 fine, plus a 15-month suspended prison sentence for using 3 civil servants as his personal staff in his home, essentially as his butler, and his second home as well, which is a windmill in Giverny. So the guy was just using civil servants to be his servants. Right, that's just a fact. And in any case, he is now being investigated by the authorities for the use of a state chauffeur for the City Hall for his own personal purposes. So he's obviously embarrassed by that allegation because it reawakens old wounds from the mid-90s. But online it's quite funny because people have done freeze frames of that Sarkozy file that was found that the camera stopped on, rather unfortunately, while he was trying to rip out the tape. And he was indeed Sarkozy's mentor in Sarkozy's early days. So it's a bit embarrassing for Sarkozy too. And because Sarkozy and quite a few of his entourage have had troubles with the law, some people are comparing the whole crew to Ocean's 11 with bad breath. Which is essentially what that tweet is saying.
James, carry on while
All right, okay. Well, let's move to Russia, where matters relating to the Sochi Winter Olympics and journalists' coverage of that is somewhat embarrassing for the authorities there. Lots of photos coming out of Sochi from rather uncharitable journalists who are pointing out that the hotel rooms are a little bit lacking in preparation. Further down, I think you have images of Vladimir left, right and centre. Also, I think that there's been a lot of talk of the toilets at Sochi. I think sometimes maybe it's looking for the problem. I think there's nothing that dramatic here, although the water coming out of the taps was not the cleanest. You also have videos going up online, Mark. Human Rights Watch released a video, I think it was Sunday. It's had about 1 million clicks on YouTube since, showing Russia's anti-gay vigilantes. Indeed, it's such a violent video that you need to be over 18 to look at it on YouTube. You have to enter a password, etc. And it does show some very violent scenes of the treatment of homosexuals in Russia. Also a video coming out of Sweden, Live and Let Love, where some 2,000 people gathered in Stockholm's former Olympic Stadium, singing the Russian national anthem, Mark, and the whole thing is that they were dressed in rainbow colours and all sorts of regalia, i.e. another message to Russia ahead of the Sochi Olympics that there's pressure there about human rights and the treatment of homosexuals. So altogether, whether it be activists or journalists, Mark, in the couple of days leading up to Sochi, certainly that message is being hammered home again and again.
Okay. Finally, a Paris jewel thief betrayed by a kiss.
That's right. It sounds like a
French?
A James Bond film or something. Jewel thief betrayed by a kiss. That's the headline in The Australian. You also have similar headlines in the British press. Kiss on the cheek lands robber in French prison. Now, what happened there is this goes back to April, where a 20-year-old thief was trying to pry the access codes out of a lady who is a jeweller, right? And so he tied her up in her apartment, and it was all very intimidating until the codes were actually got out of the woman. But apparently at some point along the way, he gave her a kiss on the cheek. Whether it was to reassure her or to mock her, it's unclear. In any case, he went off, robbed her jewellery store, and the authorities have now tracked him down in the south of France thanks to the DNA left on the jeweller's cheek.
That is absolutely remarkable.
It's a great story, but it has left some people rather amused, as this tweet sort of points out. Tim Grind saying, could only be more French if baguettes were added. So it sort of fed into the whole stereotype, I suppose, of French people giving each other cheek kisses left, right and centre, even in the middle of a bit of thieving.
Indeed. James, as ever, thank you very much indeed. James Creed with Media Watch. Pleasure to see you.
Likewise, Mark.
Okay, I'm not going to fail our bees as you leave. No. James Creed with Media Watch. We take a short break. After that, we return with another World News update and our Eye on Africa. Stay with us, live from Paris.